Hello,
Is this
man.
the famous Johansson Real Estate?
Nice to see you, meet you
Yeah.
finally. What's up, everybody? It's Arne Johansson with the Just Real Show. I'm here with John Hudson from Phoenix Consulting. John does credit repair. We're live on Facebook as well, so check us out. I wanted to talk to you for a while. We've never met, but we've been working together for a few years now.
Yep.
And John is a specialist in credit repair. I mean, you help people with home loans, you help people with anybody, or you know, car loans, any type of loan that you need, any type of thing you need credit fixed on. John can, you know, help guide you in the right direction. So I just thought this was a good educational thing to do for people who either have credit repair issues or like everybody needs credit. I mean, right?
They do,
everybody needs credit. So we were just talking about how poking the bear, like what like if you were gonna give like maybe what are the main things that you encounter, like, or what is like really important? Like, you know more than me. Like, I know that credit's important, but like you're dealing with the problems that people have. Like, you're actually literally helping like these people get their credit fixed. So like what should people know? You know, if you have like, you know, if you're sitting down with somebody and you're just like, you know, you need to know like these 2 or 3 things, like what are they?
The 2 biggest things that I talk about with people is understanding what a FICO credit score is. When I talk to a lot of people out there and I ask them, do you know what FICO is? It's nice to hear more and more people say, yeah, I know what FICO is. So they're getting away from some of those third-party websites that they give a credit score, but it's not an accurate score. Because a lot of times they'll pull their credit on some third-party website, and they'll think they have good credit, so they'll go talk to a lender, and they get a score that's completely different. And that education piece about what is FICO is very important.
Okay.
From there, when we're looking at credit, people get really scared about, okay, I have a 580 credit score, and they might think, God, it's horrible, or maybe it's a 570. But if they don't understand how FICO calculates score, it can be overwhelming very easily. Yeah. And whenever I'm talking to someone, whether it's on the phone or in person, I focus on the 2 biggest components of FICO. 35% of FICO score is based on pay history alone. Okay. And when people think about that type of pay history, they're focused on the negative. They don't understand that it also includes the positive. You know, one of my biggest things that I always tell people is, well, it takes money to make money, right? Well, it takes credit to build credit too. So if you don't have any open and active accounts that you're paying on every single month, building positive credit, if you take away all the bad, FICO doesn't have anything to look at. So you're not going to even have a score. You know, so I educate people about that. Pay history is that 35%, and then the next 30% is debt and utilization. Okay. FICO is looking at all the debt that they carry and how they're managing it. You know, so we look at what they have for debts and maybe what do they need to pay down. Are there some things they can settle if we can't get something deleted to maximize their score? So think about that. If 35% of your score is pay history and 30% of your score is your debt and your utilization ratio, that's 65% of your score alone. Just those 2 things. So if we can focus on taking away some of those negative and derogatory items, we're able to set up new accounts if it's needed. And then I teach these people or clients how to manage what they currently have or the new stuff coming in. We maximize score. I mean, that alone, those 2 things can turn someone's credit score in 90 days.
And that's like the other, like, because I get a lot of people who call me and they're like Credit Karma and they're like these third-party sites. So like, you know, you said FICO, like, so like Credit Karma is just like, what? It's just like you pay it and it's like,
no,
I mean, what is it anyways?
Credit Karma is a free website, and they give 2 of the 3 bureaus.
Oh, so there's actually 2. So it's like TransUnion.
They give TransUnion and Equifax.
And then there's
Experian.
Okay.
So they give 2 out of the 3, and they run what's called a Vantage scoring algorithm.
Okay.
So it is an established algorithm that's being run, but 90 of the top 100 lenders use FICO. So it doesn't apply.
That's huge right there.
It is. And so that Vantage scoring algorithm doesn't necessarily apply.
Okay.
So they give you education tools on there, which, it doesn't mean that they're bad education tools. They're just geared towards a Vantage FICO score.
Now, why do they do that? Like, why? Because that's, like, really, really important. Because, like, I know that, and, like, we know that because we deal with it every day. But, like, if you're looking on Credit Karma, you're getting a Vantage score, and 90% of the lenders don't even use that. They use, like, a different score.
They use FICO.
Like, is it because they have, like, a trademark on that, and they can't, like, the FICO... Why wouldn't they just give them the FICO?
FICO is a separate company of itself.
So they want to get paid or something.
Yeah.
They're not getting paid from Credit Karma or something.
Right.
Who knows?
They're the world's largest evaluator of risk. They don't just give it away.
Yeah. And Vantage is just like another alternative, and maybe because this is like a recent thing. Like Credit Karma has been out for like 5 years?
I'm not sure how long they've been around.
But yeah. So.
But the bureaus themselves also will give you a credit score too. It's not just Credit Karma. There's tons of third-party websites that have some derivative of a credit score. There's something called a plus score that's out there. I think Equifax offers that.
Yeah.
So my only point is, with all of that, is when you're looking at a credit score, you need to know the source, where it's coming from. My thing when I'm dealing with my clients, 95% of them are trying to get into a house.
Yeah, okay.
So we know it's going to be a FICO score. So my big thing that I tell them, if you're out there and you say they never want to become a client, they just came in, we did some education work, I told them kind of some things that they can do on their own, and that's what they want to do, that's fine. I always tell people, if you're looking at that third-party website and you're getting those scores, if it's not a FICO score, it's not going to apply to lending. And the education that you're getting from those websites, that doesn't mean that it's going to translate to a FICO score either.
Yeah, okay. So that's huge, guys. So just like make sure that you're getting a FICO score. That's because that's like 90% of all lending. That's like the main thing. So just like don't even focus on that other stuff. Get a FICO score. So, like, what would somebody do? Say, if you think you have bad, like, there's people watching out here who probably have bad credit. Maybe what? In the 5, like, where do you need to be at? Like, what's your credit score? Like, I know what it is, but, like, what does somebody need to be at to, like, get a loan for, like, a car, for a house, or for whatever? Like, the minimum. Is it, like, 640 usually, or 680, or...
Yeah.
What would you say?
Well, I'm not a lender, so it's hard to answer that. I know there's a lot of different programs out there.
Or what's considered a good score?
In my opinion, a 640 is going to get you whatever you want.
All right, so you need a 640.
Whatever you're talking cars, there are programs out there where you can have a score that is lower than that. But I think if you can at least hit that 640 to 660, it's going to open a lot more doors for you in terms of lending and being able to purchase.
And then, so how much time have we got left? How long has it been?
I'm actually not certain.
I
bet we've been going for about 4.5 minutes.
Okay. So if we're at 640, let's talk about like your average client, average client coming in. Like, what would you say? I know it ranges across the board, but like average client score when they get to you?
Maybe because we're dealing with lending, so a lot of people they kind of have an idea of where they're at. They're usually 570.
Okay, 570, which that sounds like, when I talk to people who have bad credit, they usually say like, around 580, 570, something like that. And then, so it takes time to do all those things. Like, what would you say, like 12 months later, they do X, Y, and Z, what would you say your average client ends up at?
In 12 months?
Yeah, is that even realistic to have that much of a change? Or is that way too soon?
No, that's way too long.
Oh, it's too long.
Yeah, it's too long. I try to get people in and out within 3 to 6 months, depending on how severe the situation is. The education part, setting up credit,
Yep.
managing. Keep in mind that 65%, 35% pay history, 30% debt and utilization.
Mm-hmm.
If I execute my part, getting the negative and derogatories off, and they can execute their part,
Mm-hmm.
that's when we get the biggest flip in credit scores.
So they need to, you need to do, like, they need to do their thing. Like, they
Yep.
actually need to do, they need to execute. So, like, do what John says, or if you go to another consultant, like, if you just go in there and pay some money and, like, don't do it, it's not going to happen. Like, you actually have to
You have
do
to
the work.
engage.
You have to engage. You
Yeah.
have to, it's going to take work. It's going to
It's a
take
team
time.
effort.
It's a team effort.
It is a
Yeah,
team
just like
effort.
anything else. And then John's going to do his part,
Yep.
and, like, in 3 to 6 months,
Yep.
9 months, or 90 days, you think 580 to
640
640.
or better.
And that's like the difference between getting a house and not getting a house, or like that could be the difference between like an interest rate of 3.8 versus 4.6. That
Yeah.
could be the difference of hundreds of dollars in your pocket. So like, what does it cost generally to have somebody use your services, like, for somebody to invest in this?
Average price usually is about 800.
$800
I'm not a cookie cutter guy though.
Yeah.
So each person's situation is unique to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not just going to look at everyone's credit and say, "Yep, you have 2 items, it's $800." Hey, you got 12 items, it's $800.
Mm-hmm.
It's we're looking at each credit individually and kind of charging for the amount of work
that's
that needs
needed.
to be done.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's nothing, guys. Like $800 to get your credit fixed and like get your situation right is like, you're actually going to make that back probably within a few months, just in the savings you're going to get in your interest rate, or like just throwing money away on rent, or not being able to buy a car, or, like interest rates have such a big effect on how much you pay. Like if you're paying 4.5 or you're paying 3.5, like I think the difference between like a 1% like rate, a 1% rise in interest rates is like I've heard it's like $10,000 is equivalent of paying like $10,000 more for a house. So
Yeah.
it's like, if you can get your interest rates lower, let's just say you could get it lower 1%, and you save $10,000 on the cost of your purchase of your house, and you had to pay $800 to get it fixed. I mean, that's smart business. That just makes sense. Like, you're paying $800 to save $10,000. So, if these guys want to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Cell phone's usually the best, 651-592-0489. Or you can visit Red Phoenix Consulting on Facebook. All my contact information is on there, and links to my Twitter, my website. It's all on the Red Phoenix Consulting Facebook page. My personal page is also open to the
Okay.
public.
Oh, nice.
So if you want to get in contact me there, just search John M. Hudson. Find me there
Nice.
too. I
Cool,
have
man.
links to all social media on there as well.
Awesome. Well, hey, appreciate it. Thanks for coming in today. Really appreciate it. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time. Cool. Awesome, dude. That was perfect.